After uploading a resume, you can proceed to the online application. There are multiple steps in the application, and your agency may or may not have all of these steps enabled for their onboarding process, so your screen may be slightly different than what you see here. The first step is the personal section, where you will provide your full legal name and contact information, as well as work eligibility information. Your agency may optionally collect some personal data, such as your Social Security number and date of birth. All personal information is securely encrypted in our system and is redacted if presented in PDF documents to anyone other than you or the HR team at your agency. Notice that this screen may already contain some basic profile information as entered by your agency. On this screen, you can correct any incorrect data, and you will also fill in any blank required fields. Again, each agency is able to configure what information they are collecting, so your screen may look slightly different than what you see here. Once I have filled in all of the data on the personal screen, I can go to the bottom of the screen and click the Next Step button to move on to the address history screen. By default, the system will show the address that it found on my resume. Notice that the system is not able to guess how long I have lived at this address, so one of the first things I want to do is edit this record and provide an accurate range for how long I have lived there. Each agency can configure how many years of address history they require. The system will then make sure that you have provided at least that number of years of information. At the top of the screen, you can expand the instructions to see exactly how much address history is required by your agency. The instructions will also explain how gap checking is done for addresses. As you're entering addresses, the system is checking to see if you have left any gaps in the data. A gap is defined as a period of time for which there is no explanation of where you lived. The agency can configure how large of a time window to use for gap checking. For example, they may configure the system to allow for 3 months gap, but to require you to explain anything larger than 3 months. Notice that when I changed the date range for my first address, the gap row changed accordingly. If I change the date to completely cover the range, the gap row disappears. If you need to explain a gap, you can simply edit that row and enter an explanation. Once you have entered all of your addresses and the system has validated that there is no missing information, you will be able to click the Next Step button at the bottom of the screen and proceed to Employment History. To learn about the Employment History step of the application, please view our other tutorial videos.